You know, if I could only read my actual writing in the middle, after the dreadful beginning and the quite appalling ending, I think I could turn this YouTube channel into, what do you reckon, below average? Kill list, take 666. Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Blackfoot Book Club, and the only BBC you're ever going to need. Yes, I brought the tagline back, and yes, I've defied your expectations. You didn't think I would, but I have dumbfounded you again, because it is the only BBC you're ever going to need. And this is another film directed by Ben Wheatley. This is also another film directed by Ben Wheatley that I couldn't possibly highly recommend to you enough. It's also another film directed by Ben Wheatley that I utterly adore with all of my heart and my cinematic soul. But please, you shouldn't shout at mummy. At just 95 minutes long, this horror thriller has damn near everything. The scene is set from the very first shot, very first look, and the film is unrelenting until the final scene. It's difficult to classify as a horror thriller, as it's so much more than that, and even after several reviewings, it still surprises with the touches you missed the first time, which are now more evident, yet still you see something new, and yet another piece of the puzzle on further viewings. Not strictly a three-act structure, more a fluid film weaving a narrative between the main characters. I'll briefly appraise the opening act, fully explore part of Act 2, and then leave the rest to your imaginations and hopefully your DVD and Blu Ray players. It's a film that simply must be seen. Neil Maskell, has been out of work for 9 months, and with money problems mounting, this is clearly affecting his relationship with wife Shell, Mianna Burring, as is very starkly demonstrated by their furious arguments followed by awkward and unconvincing reconciliations. The tension is always evident, and with subtle jump cuts even within a simple series of scenes, a tearful telephone call cut to a play fight with rubber swords and shields. An air of dread and tension continues, and yet we quickly arrive at the pre-arranged evening dinner party with friends Gal, Michael Smiley and Fiona Emma Fryer. A fractious dinner party ensues, always bubbling with innuendo, caustic wit, accusations and an unrelenting tension that finally snaps before a gear-changing breather scene drains away the tension to be replaced by a proposition from Gal. A kill list is available. 3 targets. Big money. Towards the end of Act 1, another breather scene is brilliantly played, equal parts terrifying and funny. There then follows a contract that is quite literally signed in blood, and Jay and Gal prepare for their first kill professionally and meticulously, and not as gangbangers in a hail of bullets. The kill list is made up of 3 individual targets, and the film pronounces these targets with simple slides before each contract kill: the priest, the librarian and the MP. Here is my dissection of the priest. Staking out a picturesque church from their car, Jay and Gal approach the church, and another of the film's themes is used again, that of a scene continuing quickly with jump cuts and continuing dialogue becoming a short narration. This time it's Gal as he protests, "For the record, I've hardly done any terrible shit." And then they break into the church. We now quickly cut to the priest continuing his ceremony. A pattern of constant cutting back and forth between the 2 scenarios is now set. However, the audio from each scene has been replaced by a mournful orchestral track, which is now also replaced with a sinister hum as the priest packs away the last of his Bibles. Gal crosses himself, Jay in background with nonchalant stare at the door, before they both prepare their killing zone, methodically and professionally. The priest enters his office, slightly bemused at the sight of the plastic covering the entirety of his desk area, and with a faint but frightened smile sees Jay pointing a pistol directly at him. "Turn round," is the order from Jay. A simple "thank you" response from the priest. With no expression from either Gal or Jay, the body is unceremoniously dumped from a height, bundled quickly into their waiting car, and burnt at an incinerator. "Why do you think he had that smile on his face?" inquires Gal, to which Jay dismissively replies, "Probably at peace, you know." The scene itself continues, but rather than continue in detail, I'll note a continuing theme of the film, and that of the nature of the killers themselves. The scene continues with Jay and Gal checking into yet another hotel, another bland, soulless, and crucially low-key hotel. Their preparations and discussions are seen, a monotonous grind of everyday interactions within a low-key hotel room, juxtaposed against a life away from which is anything but monotonous or unremarkable. The same can be said for the other main characters, both of whom have a duality of character not always visible, but this theme is a constant throughout the film. All characters have a matter-of-fact nature about them. An end justifies the means Machiavellian response, which often unnerves you. Act 3 contains 15 minutes of truly terrifying suspense and anxiety. It is unrelenting and sometimes difficult to watch and on many levels comprehend. The clues have been laid out throughout the film, but to list them or even hint further would be to spoil the story, and that's not my intention. Jim Williams' original music score was mentioned in my dissection of the priest scene above, and is a haunting, thoughtful joy, heightening the tension slowly throughout. Also, there's only often a faint whistling as a score, which is also very unnerving. An outstanding support cast in mainly cameo roles is headed by a lovely performance from the youngest cast member, Harry Simpson, as Jay and Shell's son Sam. His early tender scenes with Jay so funny and so joyful. Stu and Roger as the client is superb, and there are returning roles from Down Terrace for both Robert Hill as High Priest and Robin Hill as Stuart. The comparisons with The Wicker Man become stark and very apt, but being a little biased, I love this film far, far more. Employing regular subtle jump cuts similar to his previous film and brief blank slides to literally cut between the scenes, the director moves this brief film along at a pace despite some scenes giving an air of normalcy, of vacuous routine. But the sense of dread and of intrigue and apprehension is always there, sometimes leaving the film a very difficult watch. The violence is at times horrific, blatant and graphic, the lead up to the violence often far worse and similar in theme to his previous film, Down Terrace. Expertly helmed by Wheatley, he brings the absolute best out of his 4 stars, yet again. J. Neil Maskell. His background unexplained, his bad back a cover for deeper psychological wounds and so desperately over the edge. Neil Maskell is just outstanding. Central in every scene, we see his stark descent so vividly, so inexplicably and so painfully. A stellar performance. Gal, Michael Smiley. Teetering on the edge, the joker of the 2 hired killers, Michael Smiley is sublime in his second collaboration with director Wheatley, and as one of his biggest fans, Smiley is ridiculously good again here. Shell, Myanna Buring. The mirror to her husband's descent. Myanna Buring is just stunning with a heartbreaking portrayal, the film's pulse and heartbeat. Fiona, Emma Fryer. The smallest of the 4-star roles, but a fantastic performance from Emma Fryer. Nuanced and underplayed, but wait for her smile. Oh, and wait for the hotel visit. As with Down Terrace, Ben Wheatley wrote, edited and directed this masterpiece, co-written with Amy Jump, who also edited with Ben and the returning Robin Hill. Special praise is reserved for returning Director of Photography Laurie Rose for the film as a whole, naturally, but for two scenes in particular, the hotel visit of Fiona as briefly mentioned above, and for a series of scenes that I'm not even going to hint at for spoiler reasons. When you've seen them, you'll know the exact scenes I'm referring to. My favourite film of 2011, and it had a lot of competition. 25 total credited roles in a 95-minute film of pure majesty. Ranks alongside The Blair Witch Project as a film I immediately want to dive into a conversation with someone and dissect it scene by scene. Horrific at times, but so brilliantly portrayed. It's my Blair Witch of the decade so far. That was Kill List, directed by Ben Wheatley, and an original review that I wrote over a decade ago, hence it's a little bit dated. I couldn't possibly recommend this to you anywhere near enough. It's an amazing film, it truly is. I could watch it this very second. Shall we do that? Shall I just jump across to the other side of the room and put it on? No, because there's no television and we couldn't watch it, and that would be rather silly, Stephen. Okay, I get you, I totally agree with you. Stop badgering me. Thanks for being there, everyone. I'm going to keep walking backwards and forwards like some kind of despotic weirdo. Blimey. Despotic isn't even the right word to use there, but it doesn't matter. We all use wrong words in the wrong context sometimes. Who cares? No one's watching. No one cares. Right, peace and solidarity. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Peace.